This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch.
Mas marami pa.
Hello, my name is HUAREM. Welcome to our program. Ladies and gentlemen, what exactly do we know about the different issues that are going on around the world? Nakikita natin sa telebisyon, nababasa natin sa dyaryo, miski sa radyo ngayon. Ang Ukraine nagbabakbakan, ang Thailand, sila nag-aaway. Alam niyo po, hindi lang naman doon, dito rin sa Pilipinas. Pero hindi pa naman dumarating sa bakbakan. But what do we know about China, for example? Let's see, the biggest news is we are being... Wait, lumalaban tayo, di ba? Kasi tinubigan yung mga fisherman natin, dumating yung mga Chino, malalaking hinahawakan nila yung panatag shawl at kung ano. Now, if I'm not mistaken, even on my Facebook page, everyone is aggravated about China simply because they're taking over the Philippines. They're claiming the West Philippine Sea. Alam mo, when I was growing up, I never knew of a place called West Philippine Sea. It's always been called South China Sea. But, okay, how much do we know about it to take a position for or against it? Now, if I'm not mistaken, we have other issues on the other side. It's called the Bangsamoro Juridical Entity. Now, just this week, the president went to Malaysia. Why? To shake hands? To eat nasi goreng? To not even want to talk about Sabah? But isn't Sabah one of the one of the three main islands of Malaysia, especially the one that draws a lot of energy for them? Just a year ago, did we just have the Sultan's Royal Forces, who, mind you, is a Filipino, who went there to try and claim their property, or our property. It turns out billions and billions are being made out there. Why don't we look on that side of the problem and look at Malaysia? Why is even Malaysia involved? Why is even America involved? Why are all these people involved when really it's a problem between us and Sabah, who's still us, and of course the problem is Malaysia against us? Is that not a bigger issue than a couple of rocks that we're talking about on the other side near the Luzon area? But, hang on. Marami sa ating Pilipino, magagaling eh. Maraming analitiko din eh. Para sa Amerikano tayo, mas magaling Amerikano. Anong binigay sa atin ng Amerikano? Anong gusto gawin ng Amerikano? Gigirahin nila ang China pag tinapakan ng Pilipino. Pero saan yung gera? Sa Pilipinas? O sa Amerika? O sa China? If I'm not mistaken, it's so easy to go to war on someone else's territory, not yours. That's exactly what America does with their fleets all around the world. Now, what are their interests? Of course, to not subjugate, mali yun. Subdue. Hold on to China and its prosperity. Don't they owe China some $2 trillion, basically, because of the production and the seeming first world ascendancy of China today? Ladies and gentlemen, alamin po natin kung ano yung tama at ano ang bola. I keep saying this on TV, you are what you watch, you are what you read, and you are what you hear. Pero kung lahat nababasa mong media, sa radyo, sa telebisyon, sa dyaryo, kung lahat yan ay sinungaling, mabobobo ka rin. Let's talk about the real issues with people that count and know of these issues right in front of them. We have Rod Kapunan from the Manila Standard today. You know his character and his person. He's quite a celebrity in his own way. And I have the #1 critic on Quezon City's local government, who continues to be himself, and because of his love of country, And because there's a better and clearer understanding in the relationship of China and the Philippines, we have Johnny Chang. Gentlemen, salamat, narito kayong dalawa. Malalim tong, sorry, tumagal ng konti yung intro ko. I wanted to emphasize, bakit ang attention natin narito sa Scarborough, Panatag Shoal with the Chinese, and then when in reality, yung kabila dapat ang talagang tinututukan mo, yung Malaysia, kasi inagaw na nga yung Sabah sa atin, binaril pa yung mga Pilipino yung pumunta doon, hinaras pa nila. Bakit nasa kabila? Are we being misled? Media ba? Ikaw, you're with the Standard. I read your columns. You say it straight out. But there's still many who seem to believe, popular pa ba talaga si Pinoy? Hindi na.
Alam mo,
Ikaw?
pag tumaas ang gasolina mo,
Wala na.
pag tumaas ang kuryente mo,
Wala na.
tumaas ang bigas, paano kami maging popular? You go to the level, namamalengke ako every week.
Ako rin naman malengke ko.
Takot ako sa asawa ko, pero namamalengke ako every week. Is my favorite pastime. Pag tinanong mo, lahat galit eh. Mataas ang buwis, lahat, taas lahat. Ang punto ko na sinasabing popular, gawa ng media yan. Yung tunay na tinatawag ng survey, bumaba sila.
So, sinasabi yung survey, yung Ibon ba yan? Ano yung mga survey? SWS, nagsisinungaling.
SWS nagsisinungaling. Ibon kasi iba eh. Kakampi sa kabila. Ako naman personal kinakausap mga tao. Sino man boboto sa'yo? Tanong mo lang sa kanya, tataas ang kuryente, tubig, gasolina, smuggling. 3.5 years, hindi mo alam kung anong nangyayari sa buong Pilipinas, mayroon palang rice smuggling. After pang-apat na taon, saka sasabihin mo, mayroon pala kayong rice smuggling, steel smuggling, all over smuggling.
So, you don't think Pinoy, the president, Noynoy Aquino, is no longer popular?
Hindi siya pwede maging popular, even in Filipino-Chinese eh.
Even in the Philippine-Chinese
He went to the
community?
chamber, pinagalitan mga tao
Ay,
doon eh.
siyempre, sinigawan niya lahat sa FFCCCII.
Pero when you invite the guests, you do not scold them. You have to respect. Ang kailangan ng Filipino-Chinese, irespeto mo kami. We've been here. Even the history cheated us. It was not Magellan who discovered the Philippines.
Sino?
It was the Chinese. Di ba?
That's possible too, because they're the first seafarers talaga.
Hindi lang yung hari eh. We contribute 80% to the economy. We are supporting this country. We are not leaving. Kaya mahal namin itong bansa to eh. Pero don't treat us as dogs, yung ginawa ng Hapon sa amin. Mga para kaming aso. Huwag mo gawin sa amin yan. Lately nga, may balita nga. Sa 168, alam na lahat yun, 999. Hinuhuli mga Chinese na tindera o may nagbabantay, pati yung local Chinese.
Hindi yung mga illegal, ha?
Hindi lang may illegal. Pati yung tunay na Filipino-Chinese, hinuhuli. Huhuli ka muna, saka ikaw magbe-burden of proof.
Baliktad.
Baliktad lang yun. Saka mayroong pagbabago, yung sa DFA, Department of Foreign Affairs. We've been renewing passport. My brother was asked to produce documents. How many times na nag-renew? It also happened to my kumpare. Nag-renew siya. Same procedure. Hingi uli yan.
So, harassment.
Talagang racism niyon. Racism yun. Ang Chinese tawag namin paywa. You are against Chinese. Kung may problema ka sa China, labanan mo kung gusto mo. Kung may damay. We are Filipino citizen, irespeto mo kami.
Correct.
Irespeto mo kami.
Ne, pero out of bounds yun. You're not supposed to do that. It's illegal.
Merong batas yan eh, Presidential Decree 966 of Marcos about racism. Pwede sila makulong. Especially government official. Eh may balita ng utos ng Malacanang yan eh.
Grabe naman.
Yun ang sinasabi nila. Kada sasabi, ayusin daw nila. Hindi cannot do anything. Huwag naman kami. Hindi tayo makaaway. We are helping this country.
Correct.
Saka nangyayari nun, naging counterproductive lahat yung ginagawa niya. Inaaway niyang China. We have 190,000 overseas worker. It will affect 1 million family. Di ba? Isipin mo, tayo kailang dialogue. May nanggagatong nga, alam natin, ang nanggagatong sa lahat yan, Amerikano. Para magsabong tayo lahat. Paano kung nawala ni si Presidente? You create the problem. Paano mangyayari nun? Iwanan mo sa mag-away-away tayo lahat. It's much better to have a continuous dialogue with China. China is a very good country to talk to.
I agree with you. Before we expound on that, ikaw, Rod, you agree hindi na popular si
I would like to
President
go back to
Noynoy?
your original question. Some insist that President Aquino remains popular. But statistics will tell that 27% of the Filipinos, or equivalent to more than 30 million, are unemployed.
Tama
Are
yun.
unemployed. So, I just cannot equate that as a basis for his popularity. I don't see that. Because automatically, all presidents who experience and above 10% unemployment rate are
Become popular, yeah.
become unpopular. It happened under Marcos when our unemployment rate soared to 11%. That happened after the so-called capital flight.
Capital flight.
Capital flight. But on the average, the Marcos administration, unemployment administration hovers between 7 to 9%. And the same thing happened under Mrs. Arroyo. But we have a 27%, and yet he has an exceptionally high popularity rating at 86%.
So you're telling me
nangyari
Channel
yan?
2 is lying? You're telling me SWS is lying?
I'm not telling, hindi ko,
Ako, yes. Sasamahan ko sila. Mag-survey kami sa Kamuning. Samahan ko sila lahat, anytime. Alam mo, these people, alam nila po, pag tumas ang kuryente,
Oh,
paano
syempre.
maging popular?
Ah.
Tumas ang bigas, paano kayo maging popular?
Yung bigas ang masakit sa lahat eh.
Alam mo, ang nakakalungkot, Hari, ganito yan eh. Ang gobyerno, napakaraming pera at tuloy yung pork barrel. Okay? Pero wala silang budget sa orthopedic.
Wala.
Wala
Para
silang,
billion. 5 billion.
Wala silang budget para 6 billion subsidy sa MRT.
Oh.
Okay?
Gusto nila bayaran ng lahat.
Pero meron silang additional 20 million sa GOCC, 40 billion sa additional sa last year budget, malaki ang budget nila. Lahat meron. Except yung tulong sa taong bayan, wala.
Wala.
Even kidney center, balak nilang kunin. Hospital ng heart center, balak nilang kunin. I-privatize lahat.
Yeah, that I didn't hear. Bago pa yan. Bago
Hindi,
yan.
totoo yun. Hindi,
totoo na yan.
Ang balaki kasi yung 120 hectare GOCC sa area ng Quezon City, balak nila i-privatize na una yung barangay San Roque.
Bigay sa Ayala para the business park. Quezon City Business Park.
Manila Seedling, binigay na rin sa Ayala.
Binigay na yan.
Ang tanong sa inyo, simple lang naman. Huwag naman tayo maging swapang. Pilipino yun nandun nasasaktan eh.
By the way, hindi lang Manila Seedling. You mean UP properties.
Kinuha na rin ba sa
Technohub.
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 At the back, UP High School.
UP pala yun?
UP property.
I didn't realize it's
Used to
UP
be-
also.
To be part of UP
Alam mo,
properties.
kakari eh.
I thought these were all local government issues by Quezon City. It seems, hindi lang ano?
Hindi lang yun.
Or synonymous of government.
Alam mo, yun yung sinasabi namin, pwede mo loko ibang tao, pero hindi lahat. Orthopedic, dagdagan mo yung budget, mag-improve ng orthopedic. Dagdagan mo yung budget sa heart center. Dagdagan mo yung budget sa kidney, sa lung center. Tutulong yan, pero bakit? Gusto na maging bulok lahat ng government official, hospital, para to justify, take over, and privatize.
To sell.
Yan ang popcorn, sinisira nila lahat. Para wala ng budget, o di privatize mo lahat. Lahat ng magagandang ginawa ni Marcos, sisirain nila lahat siya.
Sinisira.
Di ba? Anong punto nun? Kung nakakatulong, walang Marcos, walang Cory. Ang importante, tulungan mo ang taong bayan. Yun ang ganyan, simple lang eh.
So, we can establish as early as now in this talk program that we have a president that is incompetent of the real issues that are facing the Filipinos.
Wala siyang pamilya eh. Wala siyang anak.
Actually, let me put it this way. I will give it to the president. He's not really incompetent. I should say the worst thing. He's a puppet. He's a puppet.
Okay.
Incompetence and being a puppet are two different things. We have a president whose foreign policy specifically is being decided in Washington. For instance, all you have to do is to balance things. Our relationship with the United States and China. First, economically, we have more things to lose should we antagonize China today.
I feel that too.
First, in terms of foreign assistance, let's be honest. China's foreign assistance to this country is 4 times bigger than that given by the United States. Investment in this country is almost 10 times bigger given by that of the United States. Now, tell me, if we will provoke China, all you have to do is to close our OFW, the recruitment of Filipino overseas in Hong Kong and Shanghai. Tapos na tayo. That na lang, yun na lang basis na yun. Now, going back to trade, China number 3 trading partner natin.
I always thought it was China number 1, baliktad pala.
Malapit na, pero hindi nagkakalayo yan.
Hindi
nagkakalayo. Sometimes, I also ask the same question, just like you have in mind, because I thought it was also China.
Yeah.
But somebody told me that if you will only include Chinese-made American products, branded as American products, it will be a different story. China will perhaps land number 1 as our number 1 trading partner. Kasi karamihan naman ng American products, branded, pinagawa rin sa China yan eh.
Toll manufacturing
Yan ang magiging problema. Ang second, sa ASEAN. Sa ASEAN, number one pa rin ang China. Number one ang China.
All over, yes.
Oh yes, paano yan? Another, let us discuss. Bakit ang item, i-itemize natin yan? Bakit natin sumusunod tayo sa pivot Asia? As far as I am concerned, dalawa lang tayo ng Hapon ang sumunod sa Amerika dyan. Ang Hapon naman, maraming Hapon ang nagsasalita. Bakit tayo susunod dyan? Ang investment ng Japan sa China napakalaki. Pagka nagkapikunan yung dalawang yan, tapos ang Japan. Laglag na laglag ang Japan. Ang China, ang Korea, South Korea
Pero
naman.
lumalaban ng Japan, ha?
Pero baksak ang benta niya.
But
Ngayon,
look,
no?
but look,
70%, drop pa 70%.
but look, many sensible Japanese businessmen are objecting to that. It's only Shinzo Abe. Because you recall, Shinzo Abe last year, about a year ago,
Yeah, yeah.
he only lasted for 2 weeks. He only lasted for 2 weeks.
pinalitan
And
niya.
after that, ang nagbago siya, umihip ang cambio yan, naging pro-American yan, nag-call out pro-American yan. At that is then when the Americans gave their full support to Abe. Yun lang naman yun. Kasi, ang Japanese politics and Philippine politics, kaiba. For example, ang national politics nila is controlled by the US. But the local politics is not. A good case is the future of US bases in Okinawa.
Yes.
The people in Okinawa voted to kick out the US
Yes,
bases.
they wanted them
They
out.
voted to kick it out.
But they retained it
Yes.
anyways.
The majority of the Japanese are against nuclear, the rearming of Japan, the amending the constitution to allow it to have
Military.
a military establishment.
Puro
Similar,
defense posture, eh.
ayaw nila na ngayon, the majority ng Hapon ayaw niyan. And that's why there is also an ambivalent attitude of the Chinese towards the Japanese. Kasi ang mga ibang Chinese naman, naintindihan nila, ordinary Japanese, hindi na sila ayaw na nila yan eh. Ayaw na nilang ganyan. Ang Philippines, ang kaiba. Consistent talagang blind. Hindi ko makuha eh. Hindi tayo makakuha. Ang relation natin sa China is that mas malaking mawawala sa atin. Another thing.
Sinabi mo, it's very interesting. Just 70% bumagsak ang trade ng Japan.
When the whole China
yung may conflict, yung nagka-conflict lang recently.
for a boycott of China,
Because of the
Japanese
Senkaku
product.
Islands.
Japanese product. Because of nationalism, bumagsak ang benta ng Japanese product.
After this conflict with the rocks.
Yeah, 70%. It's going down to 80%. Mayroong mga gasoline station sa China. I will not sell gasoline to any Japanese car.
Nako.
Ganyan katindi nun. Alam mo, ito Harry, mayroong isi-share sa iyo. South Korea nakipag-usap sa China. Ang binigay negosyo ng China sa South Korea, $150 billion. India, may konting conflict. Nag-usap siya, bilateral, nag-usap siya. Binigay ng China $200 billion.
May trading partner yan, eh.
Tapos, in the second year of Pinoy regime, nagbigay ng China $6 billion economic aid. Kaya lang, galit si Pinoy. Paglabas niya, galit sa China. Kaya nag-away-away uli.
By the way, let me add to that. It may appear that South Korea is supporting the U.S. pivot policy in Asia. No,
Parang.
it is not. South Korea happens to be pro-American because of her problem with North Korea. Yun lang naman yun eh.
Defense posture
Alisin mo na.
for the North, not against China. China.
Not necessarily also that they are being pro-Americans. South Koreans are more practical than Filipinos. Kaya lang sila nagiging pro-American. Tulad, halimbawa, good example. If you will tell me, Rod, mag-joint venture tayo. A good example of joint venture is, magtayo tayo na sari-sari store.
Okay.
When you ask me to contribute to that business, to that natatayuin mo, assuming na lang na 30% lang akin sa'yo, 70%, hindi ba may legal implication na partly owner ako dyan?
Tama.
That is the legal implication eh. Way back in 1984, Deng Xiaoping offered for a joint venture, yung sa mga bato na yan, sinasabi mo, Spratly Island. 50% ang offer nila. Ang sinabi lang ni Deng Xiaoping, kalimutan na muna natin ang ownership at saka sovereignty. Mag-sosyo tayo riyan.
Tama yan. Mas maganda yan.
Ayaw natin. Hindi ko makuha yun eh. Hindi ko makuha yun eh. Bakit ayaw? Samantalang, habang inaayawan natin yan, common sense will tell you, habang we stick to that position na no negotiation, habang hindi na re-resolve natin ang ownership na yan, it is China that is taking advantage. Kailangan may poder eh. Kami nandito, sige, kung ayaw mo, di kunin namin. In the meantime, ayaw makipag-usap sa amin.
Pero
Wala tayong common sense. Wala tayong common sense.
Pero meron tayong common sense. Gusto nating Amerikano. 10% lang kasi hiningin Amerikano. Ibibigyan ng Amerikano.
Yan pag-isa.
10%, pero 50% ayaw natin tanggapin. Alam mo, itong problema kasi natin Panahon ni Marcos, Cory, Ramos, Erap, Jimmy. Inaway bang China?
Hindi.
Hindi. Bakit pagpasok niya, inaway niya kagad? He has Chinese blood. Dapat intindihin mo, irespeto mo kami. You're part of the HUAREM. HUAREM means Chinese. It's international.
I am.
Oo.
Tambuhat ko. Tamboloy kami.
Saka kami, ang sinasabi lang namin, lahat ng Pilipino may Chinese blood, wala na mestizo sa amin. You already consider Chinese. Yun ang bakong
Lahat naman, kahit man ako, wala namang problema na lahat tayo.
Kaya sinasabi ng China, American don't wanna come here to these Philippines. You are troublemaker Favorite pastime ng Amerika is to create war. They have destroyed Iraq, they have destroyed Libya, they have destroyed Syria. In the modern days,
Afghanistan.
Ngayon, Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Are we a bunch of
Papasukan
idiots?
pa lang.
Are we a bunch of idiots? I think we are not idiots But somebody out there is an idiot. Stop killing Filipino for the sake of what? You pro-American ka? American kill 1 million Filipino. Ang China wala. The Chinese multiply.
That's true.
By the way, going back to
Hapon, pumatay ng 2 million.
Totoo yan, totoo yan.
going back to that, na bakit ganon? For instance, sa South Korea, ang position talaga lang, practical sila Sabi nila, hindi kami not necessarily pro-American. We need the Americans against North Korea.
Correct.
But we want to open our door to China because we will gain more. Kaya nga halos malalagpasan na ang Sony ng Samsung sa China At pakalaki ng kaya nga nagwawa ang sabi ng mga sensible, practical Japanese businessman, nagkakamot sila ng ulo. Ang laki na nalulugi sa kanila. Now, pagdating naman halimbawa dito sa bilateral, the United States insists that China approved the so-called navigation code of conduct for the navigation in the South China Sea. Sinasabi nila.
Pero Amerikano, hindi naman nakapirma sa UNCLOS.
Hindi, ang
Hindi sila nakapirma. They are not even a signatory International Court of Justice.
Ang tanong kasi ang inaayawan doon ng China, hindi dahil sa ayaw ng multilateral. Ba't mo isasama yung walang pakialam sa Spratly? Because if you will require that as a China versus ASEAN for the code of conduct sa Spratly, paano na lang yung mga wala dyan? Katulad ng Myanmar, wala naman silang problema dyan. Katulad ng Thailand, wala rin silang problema dyan.
Wala.
That's another issue. Ngayon, isasama mo, di naging kandak. Pero sinabi pa, sinasabi pa ng ang Chinese position. I'm not trying to explain the Chinese position, but it is common sense na since the Second World War, ang South China Sea is a virtual American lake. Simula noong 1950, nung nagagigiringan si Mao Zedong at saka si Chiang Kai-shek sa Formosa, the Straits of Matsu, yung malit na tubig na yung Matsu, ang nagbabantay diyan 7th Fleet. At the height of the Vietnam War, Gulf of Tonkin, ang nagbabantay din diyan 7th Fleet. Katapos-tapusan, ang American, ang Chinese Navy diyan, naging visible na lang because of its increased commercial trading. Kasi marami rin ang pirata. But not necessarily to treat the China Sea as its own lake na katulad ng ginagawa. Bakit tayo nagkakagulo diyan? Ano ba problema? Kung ikaw ba naman meron kang tumatas ng trading mo, may mga barko ka tumatawid dyan, hindi mo ba alagaan yan? Hindi naman yung nagtayo ka ng Navy para lusubin yan, hindi. Ini-escort mo lang yung mga Navy. Lumala kasi from China Sea to Hainan, up to the Straits of Malacca, gateway na yan hanggang sa Indian Ocean, hanggang sa Middle East to Europe. Paano yan?
Gentlemen, we're gonna have to take a short break. We're at the bottom of the hour. Alam mo, kayong mga nanonood that watch my show regularly, I bet you're quite confused at this point. And I don't blame you. Some gentlemen about mga 2 months, 3 months ago, I had a series of guests who were pro-American naman. Diba? They were talking about the 7-dash line, the 9-dash line, and whatnot. Alam mo, it is not a matter of what I think is right. What is important is what you think is right based on the arguments being presented to you. Now, obviously, in this show, we are telling you, you are being fooled. We are telling you in this program certain truths, the way we see it, or the way our guests see it, for you to understand a clearer picture. But alam mo, it can be confusing, especially pagdating ng Amerikano versus China. Now, who do we choose? Now, if you stay with us, when we come back, we will do another segment, and then after the show, you decide. Kung tingin mo gusto mo maging Amerikano, gusto mo sila pumunta dito at maggerahan, gagamitin natin yung baril ng Amerikano, pero tayo nakaharap sa bala. Hindi sila mga Amerikano. Sila pumipindot, tayo nasa harap. Gusto ba natin yan o gusto ba natin ng ibang option? Stay with us, we'll be right back.